Good day, everyone. I'm your host, Paul Lawrence Van, and I hope that you are doing wonderful as spring has sprung. I hope that you're having a good day and your week is progressing right along. And of course, this YouTube show that I'm putting on right now, this podcast that is helping you and making a difference. And what I'll be talking about today has to do with the outcomes that corporations are projecting from a talent perspective over the next 2 to 3 years. In other words, what is going to be taking place, what you can expect for your organizations. And so we're looking at the projected talent outcomes that will occur. And there are likely to be many, but I'm going to focus on just one today and then share some of the components that you may want to look at. And as I do on each podcast episode, I talk a little bit about my background so that you can understand what my expertise is, the training that I have received, and more. So thank you for that. And as soon as I finish that, I will move forward with this episode. As for me, when it comes to my professional life, I started out with the United States Air Force as being my primary professional work. I was a military officer and I served for over 20 years. But in that time, I also served 2 years for Mobil Oil Company when I had a break in service after 8 years. And my area of expertise was financial management, cost analysis, budget analysis, you name it. I worked in that field in the acquisition areas where procuring goods and services for the United States Air Force, working with the Air National Guard, Department of the Air Force, the Pentagon, and the Army Guard as well. And I received training from Squadron Officer School in Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama. And then I had Air Command and Staff College, which also was a leadership program. And last but not least, Air War College. And with all of that leadership under my belt, I also had experience where I led people and I managed things or resources. And I did it to the neighborhood of billions of dollars over the course of my career. And that doesn't even include what I did when I had an assignment on Capitol Hill working for a member of Congress. And that all entailed working with the Veterans Administration in addition to the House Armed Services Committee, both the Senate Armed Services Committee as well. And so I just wanted to give you a little bit more on my background, and you maybe ask yourself, well, how did you come into leadership? I just explained how I came into leadership. I came through experience, I came through training, and then I came from different avenues of working with different organizations as a speaker, as a radio show host, and a local television personality here in the Washington, D.C. area, where I work with Channel 9, WUSA, and they had a program on at that time, and they would invite me to come in as one of the three or four different financial experts, and it was called Mind Over Money. And so I was being interviewed while their local hosts, and I would talk about money issues. So let's get with today's topic. And again, this information all comes from studies that have taken place over the last year or so, where different organizations, whether they be Fortune 500, small businesses, entrepreneurs, and they have come up with some statistics and some facts that will help us to better understand how the new workplace and workforce is going to be working. So one of the areas that is being discussed is the talent outcomes the organization they will believe occur over the next 2 to 3 years. And there's one specific area in which they focus on, and it's providing all employees with more flexibility in how, when, and where they work. And at least 70% of organizations believe they will be better off in the next 2 to 3 years. And so when it gets down to how are employees going to be impacted, well, the bottom line is employees have leverage and they're going to use that leverage because organizations, companies, businesses need them. They need their knowledge, their skills, and their abilities, the KSAs. They need it. And when you have leverage like that, the employers really have to work with them to help their company to progress. And we know that some of the people who are no longer working, some retired, some started their own business, and then others just moved to a new company. And so when you start looking at the different things that are taking place, now we know why the talent management side is the most important. So 71% of all employees will have more flexibility in how, when, and where they work than they do today. And so over the next 2 to 3 years, things will kind of sort themselves out. We're coming off of we're in that post-pandemic environment, and now we're projecting for the future. What is work going to look like in the future? So when we get down to it, 60% of people and organizations, they provide continuous feedback and coaching for employees will be the norm, whereas it doesn't exist at this higher percentage today, but it will in the future. And again, that's based on what the employees want. So they want continuous feedback. They don't want to have a sit down or meeting with a manager uh, at the annually like you normally do. Let's say if you have a meeting to talk about your performance appraisal in November, as December, the year is about to close out, you want to have continuous conversations taking place. And now, based on research, this will be happening on a periodic basis. Let's say in the first quarter, like January to March, they may have several conversations, maybe twice a month, maybe 3 times a month to kind of prize the employee of how their performance is coming along. Not so much where they're uh, really judging them or not performing, but more so just an update. Well, here's the status that you're at right now. How about that project that I gave you to work on? How is that coming along? And are you reaching out to the vendors or the subcontractors? And are you talking to the other divisions within the company? Are you talking to the financial people? Are you talking to the HR staff? Are you talking to the logistics? Who are you talking to help get this project move forward and to help our organization? And so in the future, we're going to see more of this. And the next thing is on managers spending more time collaborating with their team members. Now, what this is all about is engagement. Engagement is one of the big areas that employees want. In other words, they want to be in the know. They don't want to be surprised by something that's coming down the pike. All of a sudden, surprise! They want to know and be a part of something great and something that's going to achieve success for the entire team, and they want to be a part of it. So it's really important that the managers spend more time in building that team and strengthening that team. And I've said on previous podcast episodes that one of the keys is to have the leader of the company, maybe the CEO and or the president, and they develop their managers and employees. In other words, get them trained in leadership development. The stronger your leadership is within a company, the higher the business performance is going to be. Because when more people have the leadership skills and they possess them, then they possess them through not only training, but workshops and also through actual experience on the projects they're working on, the organization is only going to get better and they're going to strengthen the organization as a whole. And you're going to have a greater return on investment with the employees as well. And so it really behooves a person in a leadership position and management position to make a case for and help develop others along the way as a part of their organization. So managers will spend more time collaborating with their team. And then our workforce will be more significantly more diverse than it is today. And I think this is more a matter of demographics more than anything else. when we look at the birth rates that have happened over the last 20 to 30 years. And so now what we're finding is the children who were born 20 or 30 years ago, they're coming into that area or age range and employment range where they will be in more of the leadership, management, and employees moving up status as opposed to being on the lower rungs. And so again, and I talked about this at length in one of the episodes, is that we don't want to just look at this in terms of ethnicity, but we want to look at it in terms of the breadth of experience of an individual, whether they used to be in the military, whether they were a union worker, what do they have degrees, do they have a practical experience, or in the guard or reserve, military wise. Have they worked with several companies, businesses before? Have they been entrepreneurs before? Are they married? Do they have children? Do they work in their community? So, in other words, we're talking about the whole person concept, the whole person. And all of that exists in all of us, you and me. And we have to bring those aspects of an individual to bear and really maximize that human capital. We have to maximize and that human potential, and that will really help take the organization a lot further into the future. The next thing, after continuously developing employees, the team, you routinely provide feedback and recognition from everyone they work with through technology. So, in other words, awards are given out in organizations, performance enhancing awards, organizational achievement awards, um, upward mobility awards, you name it, or actually receiving a degree or a certificate to advance one's knowledge, technical knowledge. To be considered as well, because that's really the cutting edge. And I always like to share with people that, yeah, technology is moving in leaps and bounds, and one has to be aware of what technology is, but the technology won't replace a human being because it works better when they go hand in hand, as opposed to, well, we'll just rely on the AI or the chat GPT or whatever it may be. But you have to have some human intervention in there too, because if we lose energy and power, we still have human beings. When we can excuse me, them, then we're going to have better results. The next thing is the leadership will be significantly more diverse and inclusive than it is today. And again, what this means is that we're going to see a more dynamic and more robust workforce. And it's just something that's just going to happen. And it's just great to be a part of it. And as you can see, I just put here on my banner, we're talking about the outcomes that occur in the next 2 to 3 years. And I also have my website on here, which is www.paulvanspeaks.com. And you'll be able to go there and take a look at some of the leadership workshops that I provide. And it'll give you a better idea of some of the items that are covered. And I work with corporations, I work with associations, government agencies, small business owners, and colleges and universities as well. And just helping people to become better leaders. That's what it's all about. I would not be who I am today were it not for leadership. I had two beautiful parents, and they had 5 sons and 5 daughters. I happen to be the oldest son. So I received leadership from both of my parents every day, whether I liked it or not, or whether I wanted it or not. And it's the best thing that ever could happen to me. And then, of course, I went on and played high school football and was on the track and field team. And then I went on to college, and I became the first child of 10 to graduate with a diploma and then a college degree in business administration and accounting. And then I was enrolled in the 2-year Air Force ROTC program at cross enrolled from Shaw University over to North Carolina State University for a 2-year ROTC program where I learned even more about leadership and teamwork and team building. And then on the day I graduated, I received my bachelor's degree in business. And then I was commissioned a second lieutenant into the United States Air Force. And so my career started about, I'd say, 6 months after I was commissioned. And I went on to be stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, and I worked on acquisition programs in the millions of dollars. And I was, say, 21 years old, maybe. And I learned from the best up there. And I know that it works, and I want it to work for you as well. And so learn a little bit more. And if you have questions, just send me an email at info@paulvanspeaks.com. And then the last thing I want to talk about is turnover of top talent will have decreased significantly compared to 2022. I just saw where, if I'm not mistaken, it was a business, and they just laid off 10,000 employees, I guess, globally, but that's still a lot of people. So one of the things that I think that we have to look at, of course, is how do we get the employees and retain the best employees? Because here's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with, uh, let's say, at the higher levels of an organization, or even at the mid-level rate of a organization. If you lose an employee who is making, let's say, 150,000 a year, or they're making 200,000 to 300,000 a year, it will cost you more to hire a new employee than it would be to retain one, and they have promotion and pay increases going forward in their career. So it costs a lot more to hire a new employee than it does to sustain and retain one. And so I want that point to be out there too. But compared to 2022, 2 to 3 years from now, we won't have as much drop off because, again, the economy is still kind of settling from the previous pandemic. And we have seen what's happened with the banking industry, where we had two banks that really kind of collapsed. And now we have some instruments in place to keep them operating. But I think we're also seeing the impact of inflation and the economy. And when we continue to see the Federal Reserve, we can continue to see them raise the inflation rate. We have to wonder what impact that's having on banks, because investors aren't putting money behind these banks because they want to see more return on their investment. And so that's something to consider as well. So what I want to talk about again today is retaining top talent requires breaking through traditional barriers and paradigms. And I just want to share a little bit about that with you, because we know that dynamics are continuing to take place in corporations throughout the United States and beyond, whether it's a small business owner or entrepreneurs, or if it's a small business and or a major corporation. Everyone is being impacted, but talent management is at the forefront of the bottom line. And so one of my roles is empowering leaders to have influence on their managers and their employees, and help develop them to become leaders of influence so that they can maximize their human potential and improve their bottom line, and being able to retain talent and have a better rate of return of investment for their employees that work for them. And I would love for you to go out and take a look at my episodes. Leadership is Influence, and my YouTube podcast is Paul Lawrence Van. And I want you to go out there, view these episodes, recommend them to your friends, your family, and your colleagues, and subscribe to my YouTube podcast. I would really appreciate it. And just know this, that you can always give me a call at 1-800-341-6719. And what I have projected for the future is to have a live podcast. I'll host them live coming in the next 2 weeks. So you can look for that. So this ends today's episode of Leadership is Influence. And I really thank you for your time and taking time out to listen to and view these episodes. And I have them here for you. And by the way, if you see the banner in the background, it says Wealth Academy. That's another podcast that I host. And in that one, I talk about financial aspects, personal finances, and how people can become financially independent and to be able to position themselves to leave a uh, generational wealth. And so I also talk about that, but that's later. But right now, I just focus in on leadership as influence. That's what it's all about. Have a great day and take good care. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day, and thank you so much.